Alright, so these are what I got for my rear-facing lights. That's just a tuna can, drilled 4 holes in it, and then use the steel wire. And there's one spot right here where you can actually untwist the steel wire, and then you slide the light bulb out. I'm making a mess. And you just kind of slide it out this way, and you can kind of finagle that one. So the other 3 points are meant to be, you know, constantly twisted. It's not really practical to untwist them while they're wedged under the bulb. This one's designed in case I ever need to change these bulbs. Hose clamp is the right size. It should grab onto the kind of the, not the roll cage, but the, you know, fall hazard cage on the forklift. Now, of course, I wanted rear-facing red lights, and I've always thought the sealed beam ones are really cool. Of course, I was hoping for the kind of the gigantic ones. They make full-size car headlight ones like that, but those are rare and expensive. These are all that John had to give me for free. So the thinking being is that the light will be red, you know, to indicate the rear of the forklift. But if this is a higher wattage, which it actually might not be, these are like 18 watts or something. I don't remember, but it might not be quite, it might defeat the entire purpose of having a sealed beam because they're not particularly bright. But that's kind of what I wanted, is like basically a headlight that was red. So you get the best of both worlds, the illumination, but also, anyway, the ground, you can see here on both of these, the purpose of the ground is that I'm just going to shove it underneath that hose clamp, and so that way, even if there's rust or paint where this wire is, the wire will also be touching the hose clamp, and so if the hose clamp is grounded anywhere around the circumference, it'll make connection to this guy. And then these 2 fixtures are connected together with a length of wire equal roughly to the width of the forklift. And then this one here has 2 hot wires, one going to the switch and, you know, one connecting to the other one anyway. And originally I had this headlight kind of mounted to this fall rack, but you see how it lights up the back plate, you know, to the forks. I don't know the terms for any of these things, but basically, yeah, this, because it's painted white and it has the light shining on it, it makes it more difficult to see. Obviously, you can see it's pretty tricky to see when you're driving the forklift in general. So when I drilled and tapped that hole, of course, that light is a little bit higher up, and it, you know, if you lift this backing plate up, you can get to a spot where some of the fatter portions of it block the light, but that's not too shabby. You can kind of see I got the spot a little bit forward so that, and you imagine the angle of this light, you know, as you come up, it comes in, so it'll almost hit your work. I see I got some good indirect light on my shoe. It's not actually the spot, but it's the good indirect light, and it's kind of the compromise between having the light further out so you can see ahead of you when you're driving versus having it down so you can see, you know, the workpiece. I kind of split the difference, so it's terrible for both, as is often the case in life. And then of course we got these cute rear-facing red lights. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that. Because yeah, there was not a goddamn light on this forklift. And so then I haven't quite adjusted the angle on those, and you see they do have a kind of a spot effect, which is interesting. And so you can kind of see the angle generated here a little bit. Yeah. So what I'll probably do is I'll drive the forklift around a little bit and see if I like that angle. Maybe I bring them down a little bit. I actually might do that because these aren't terribly bright, and I don't imagine you're going to be driving at speed in reverse. You know, you're going to want to see obstacles in the immediate term rather than seeing distance. I don't know, I guess I can also foresee doing a fair amount of driving in reverse, so it's a little hard to say. You know, what's kind of interesting is I do find it's hard to see these gauges at night. Of course, they don't light up, and there's no holes in the back for light. However, you see that? It might not show on camera because it's it's dimmer. The camera, you know, being a lot of megapixels on the fucking image sensor or whatever means it needs a lot of light, basically. But to my human eye, I was just squinting at these gauges in the dark when I was driving. I don't know, just a compulsion. There's no reason to check the gauge. The forklift is never overheated, but I compulsively look at it anyway. But these cast quite a bit of indirect light. You can actually see this one, the reflector is actually kind of missing. That one, the reflector is intact. But yeah, you obviously, this is dramatized on the camera. It's much dimmer to my eye than what you're seeing. But yeah, it casts a lot of indirect light kind of on your work area here in the forklift. So that's a kind of a cute side effect. I don't know, it's probably a kind of a stupid thing, but adding cute vintage incandescent lights to things makes me happy. This one takes an H1 bulb and it's replaceable. That one's maybe not vintage. It is metal. It's not plastic. It's just a cheap stamped metal, but it is a newer one, newish. And of course, these are all wired up on the accessory position of that key. So you have the switch. You can turn them on and off while the engine is running, you know. Bink, bonk. See, that's a fair amount of indirect light, and this is actually, some of this is coming from that light up in the front, but these gauges are blocked by the mast. Anyway, so yeah, you can actually turn the headlights on and off, but then anytime you shut off the key, it also automatically shuts off the lights, because I hate it when people leave the lights on, shut off the key, and are like having a conversation with me. And they're draining my battery. It kind of triggers my OCD. And this here, you can kind of see our mast there, and the way that this was done is that's just a really thick piece of metal. This thing is just solid. Yeah, that's just a solid piece of metal. And I took was probably a 1/4 20 bolt, as I recall. I just drilled and tapped a hole, and then yeah, there's just a hole in this bracket. And so yeah, you put the bolt in, and so you can actually twist the light in a couple of axes, so it gives you that adjustability there. And so I have it kind of angled, but yeah, there you go. And you can actually see, because of this metal kind of curves, you know, here-ish we're roughly square, but the light is actually pointing inwards just a little bit. The idea being that, you know, if the light is straight, it's going to hit out here, but with it being curved a little bit, it kind of centers itself anyway.
Yeah, man. There it is. So this is super crazy dangerous. That right there is Balin Mania, and we are going to do something really stupid today. This is a terrible idea. Balin might die. It's making me uncomfortable. Go, Balin!
You riding this?
What the fuck is happening?
Balin said not to talk crap about this camera. It's a piece of shit.
This is so unbelievably sketchy. Why would you put me through this, you jerk?
That's the power of really old engineering.
It'd be nice if it didn't kill me. It's not required.
I felt that fucking pop.
Make a wish, everyone. Make a wish.
Not okay.
You went too far. This guy, man. This guy.